when he started claiming to be a prophet. So he claimed to be a subsidiary prophet, a Zilli prophet, then a Buruji prophet, then a full prophet, and then second advent of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the spirituality was brighter and stronger and more vigorous in him than it was when the beloved Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was physically present in this world. Right? So this is Mirza Ghulam. Right? Now, they exalted the town of Qadian, right there, and they had a cemetery there, and those who are buried in that cemetery will go to paradise. So you have to pay some money, so they were earning a lot of money from that cemetery there in Qadian. Right? And Mirza was buried in that cemetery. And they started equating visiting the grave of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad in Qadian with visiting the blessed grave of the beloved Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Medina. Right? All of that. Right? And they started speaking of pilgrimage to Qadian as equivalent to Hajj. This is the deviancy of this group. Right? We don't hear much about this, but this is what they started teaching. Right? And the companions of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, they equated them with the companions of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know, and things of you know, really deviant view positions like these, which they had. Right? So Mirza Ghulam Ahmad died in the year 1908, and Muhammad Begum wanted to marry her. He said she will get married. Allah has told her that she will get married to him, but that didn't happen. And the person to whom she was married, who was supposed to die in 2.5 years, he was still alive at that time, and he lived on for a number of years after that as well. So he was succeeded. They called the successor of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad as Khalifa. So he was called Khalifatul Masih, the Khalifa of the Messiah. Number one. So his name was Hakim Nuruddin. So he was the Khalifa. When Hakim Nuruddin died, then the son of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad became the second Khalifa. The second Khalifatul Masih. Khalifatul Masih number one was Hakim Nuruddin. Khalifatul Masih number two was one son. When he died, and the Khalifatul Masih number three was another son, and so on. Right? So when Hakim Nuruddin died, apparently there was some conflict in the community, and a group of the community was expelled from the community. That group included persons like Muhammad Ali and Khwaja Kamaluddin, and they went to the city of Lahore and established the Anjuman Ahmadiyya Anjuman Islam, and they started propagating all the teachings of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad before he claimed to be a prophet. So they said he is the Mujaddid, he is the Mahdi, he is the Messiah, but he is not a prophet. This is the Anjuman Ahmadiyya Anjuman Islam, headquarters in Lahore. Right? Of course, in those days Lahore was in India, and then after the partition, Lahore is Pakistan. Right? There. So we ended up with two groups of followers of Mirza Ghulam. The main group, and they are still the majority in the world, they are minority in Trinidad, majority in the world, they hold that Mirza is Mujaddid, yes, and Mahdi, yes, and Messiah, yes, but also prophet. And also, if you do not believe that he is a prophet, you are a kafir. This is what Mirza Ghulam Ahmad taught. You are a kafir. And he was teaching about his followers. And Ahmadi cannot get his daughter married to a non-Ahmadi, right? And an Ahmadi male can marry a non-Ahmadi female. He says because Allah has given permission to Muslim males to marry females from the people of the book. So similarly, Ahmadi males can marry non-Ahmadi females. But Allah, because Allah has not given permission for Muslim female to marry a male from the people of the book, so Ahmadi female cannot marry. And anybody who does that, will bear the consequences. Right. So everyone who does not believe in Mirza Ghulam Ahmad as a prophet is a kafir. Right. And therefore, Ahmadis cannot perform salat behind a person who is not an Ahmadi. Ahmadi, among those who believe that is a prophet. Right. The other group, Ahmadiyya and Jamaat Islam, which continue to teach that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is the Mujaddid and is the Mahdi and is the Messiah, but not a prophet. They have no qualms about praying behind people who are not Ahmadis. They will perform their salat behind people who are not Ahmadis. But if you are among, both groups call themselves Ahmadis. Other people have separated them into Qadianis and Ahmadis to distinguish between those who claim that he's a prophet. They call them the Qadianis. People call them the Qadianis. They call themselves the Ahmadis. Like, for example, this translation and commentary of the Quran. They have published under the auspices of Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad, the third successor, that is the third Khalifa of the promised Messiah and head of the Ahmadiyya movement in Islam. They call themselves Ahmadis. Other people call them Qadianis to distinguish between them and those who claim that he is not a prophet. Right. Now, through the years in the 20th century, there have been a number of conferences that have given rulings on these two groups of followers of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, holding that both of them are out of the veil of Islam. In 1974, in Pakistan, there was some uprisings or violence concerning Ahmadis. And so the Parliament of Pakistan decided to examine this case. So the Parliament of Pakistan was constituted into a full House committee. And they got the head of both sections of the followers of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and cross-examined them. The Parliament of Pakistan cross-examined these two, the leaders of the followers of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And finally, by a unanimous vote of the Parliament of Pakistan, a constitutional amendment was passed labeling both groups as non-Muslim minorities. So the Qadianis, those whom we call Qadianis, and the Ahmadis, both groups were labeled as non-Muslim minorities by the Parliament of Pakistan in 1974. It is there in the Constitution of Pakistan. Right? And in other conferences like international conferences like Rabita and others, etc. They have also said all the followers of Mr. Ghulam Ahmad, whether you believe that he's a prophet or you don't believe that he's a prophet, once you are following him and the person whom it is clearly established that he claimed to be a prophet, once you are following him, then you are out of the field of Islam. Like, for example, a person might be a member of a political party here in Trinidad, and he has a leader, right? But if a person belongs to the PNM and he holds that Keith Rowley is his religious leader, not political leader, he is a religious leader, he goes out of the pale of Islam because he probably is not a Muslim. So if you hold any person who is not a Muslim to be your religious leader, then you go out of the pale of Islam. And this is what the ruling that has been given. And this is a consensus in the world today about the Ahmadis. Now, the Ahmadis and the Qadianis, they believe in the same Quran as we do. Of course, they fiddle with the translations and commentaries and so on, or of the verses, but the Quran itself, the actual Quran, the same. They hold that Salat is compulsory 5 times a day, and fasting in Ramadan is compulsory, and Zakat is compulsory. About Hajj, there's a problem. They recognize that if anybody holds, if the authorities come to know that a person is an Ahmadi, they do not allow them to perform Hajj. Ahmadis go to Hajj, yes. Ahmadis from Trinidad are going to Hajj. But concealing the fact that they are Ahmadi. If the authorities know that this person is an Ahmadi, they will not allow